Hello and welcome to Topic Crypto. Today, I'm taking a bit of a break from the normal reviews that I do, and instead looking forwards to the upcoming blockchain splits and hard forks that Bitcoin will be undergoing over the next few weeks. As I'm sure you know, in about a month's time, we could be looking at seeing 4 different coins on the market all claiming the Bitcoin name and sharing a similar blockchain history. These are going to be Bitcoin, Bitcoin 2x, Bitcoin Cash, which has already been created, and Bitcoin Gold. Today, I'm going to be looking at exactly what a fork is, and then looking at each of the specific cases of what we're about to see. So first up, what exactly is a fork? Well, its name suggests that a fork always results in a blockchain splitting and new currencies being formed. This isn't necessarily the case. In fact, a fork is actually just a protocol change that makes blocks that would have previously been invalid, valid, and of course blocks that would have been valid, invalid. This means that nodes must upgrade to new software to continue operating the network. The name fork comes from the fact that the upgrade creates a permanent divergence from the old rules. Generally, a short time after an upgrade, any nodes that aren't running the longest version of the blockchain will realise this, and they'll swap to the main one again, and the chain functions as it did before. But on some occasions, not all of the nodes will choose to upgrade. And in this case, 2 blockchains will exist simultaneously with a shared history up until the moment of the fork. This is what happened with Ethereum and Ethereum Classic. Following the DAO hack, there was a hard fork on the blockchain with the intention of returning money to users who had lost it. But in this case, there was a philosophical disagreement between different parties, and some actively chose not to upgrade their nodes to run the new protocol. These people continued with the old rules and formed Ethereum Classic, whilst everybody else forked away and formed the Ethereum that we have today. On October 25th of this year, Bitcoin Gold is going to fork away from the main Bitcoin blockchain. So, what exactly is Bitcoin Gold? Essentially, it's just the Bitcoin that we all use today, but with some changes made to the way that it's mined. The creators of Bitcoin Gold dislike how mining has become increasingly centralized. In the early days of Bitcoin, mining could be done by just about anyone. It's become increasingly difficult, however, to mine it, requiring more and more computing power to succeed. And to be competitive in the mining space, miners began using specialized hardware. Normal graphics cards that can be bought relatively cheaply were replaced with ASICs. This stands for Application-Specific Integrated Circuit. These are far more expensive and mean that fewer people can afford to get into the mining game. As a result, mining has shifted away from the individuals using Bitcoin to a handful of professional data centers. To try and reduce this centralization, Bitcoin Gold will change Bitcoin's code to include an ASIC-resistant proof-of-work algorithm called Equihash, which is already used in Zcash. Equihash can't guarantee that ASIC chips won't be used, as specialized chips can be created for any algorithm. And as a further deterrent for anybody using ASIC chips to mine Bitcoin Gold, the team behind it are planning to change the mining algorithm if they find that ASIC chips are being produced for Equihash. Of course, this does lead to the possibility of there being multiple hard forks and chain splits down the road, and Box Mining pointed out that this could lead to a rather farcical creation of numerous versions of Bitcoin Cash, and what are they going to name it once they get to the 5th or 6th different iteration of it? But I'm not really going to go into all of that here. What's really important here is how does it affect you? And in many ways, it doesn't. Bitcoin Gold is planning on implementing strong replay protection. This means that any transactions made on the Bitcoin Gold blockchain won't be accidentally repeated on the Bitcoin blockchain. So you don't need to worry about losing any Bitcoin if you choose to sell your Bitcoin Gold. Bitcoin Gold still has a lot of issues to face. There's details that aren't yet being explained about it, and as far as I can tell, there's not even an official wallet for it yet. And nobody really knows who's going to be supporting it either. There's no mining pools or exchanges that are showing interest in it, as far as I can see. And without that, it's dead in the water. In my mind, there's no reason to buy or use Bitcoin Gold, and as a result of that, its value will be virtually nothing. I mean, why would you choose to use Bitcoin Gold over traditional Bitcoin? And even if you are very conscious about the centralization of mining, you could just use any number of other altcoins that are out there already. To me, Bitcoin Gold seems like a lot of fuss about nothing. But the same can't be said for the Bitcoin 2x upgrade that's planned to be happening a few weeks after Bitcoin Gold's creation. Bitcoin 2x is a far more complicated fork. It can be considered a simple upgrade of the Bitcoin blockchain itself, and as such, its creators have no intention of adopting a new name for it. Here, I'm going to be calling it Bitcoin 2x for simplicity, and I'll refer to the original Bitcoin blockchain as just Bitcoin. Bitcoin 2x is the second part of the SegWit 2x upgrades that began in August. SegWit is short for segregated witness, and it's basically about shifting certain parts of the transaction data from the main part of the block into an extended block. This means that you can fit more data into a single block. This should reduce fees and also wait time for people when they're sending Bitcoin to each other. Essentially, SegWit is just designed to improve Bitcoin scalability, and the 2x part of that is about doubling the block size to improve it further. Of course, SegWit's implementation wasn't met with unanimous support, and it was one of the reasons that Bitcoin Cash split away from Bitcoin in August. Now the intention is to increase the block size from 1 megabit to 2 megabits, and again, it's a very controversial move. SegWit 2x was a compromise agreed to by the biggest and most powerful players in the Bitcoin community, but now some of them are backing out of the agreement, and others who weren't consulted before this deal was made are saying that they disagree with it. As a result, there's a chance that not all miners will be upgrading their protocol to follow the new hard fork. Looking at the website Coindance, which I'll provide a link to in the description below, it seems that about 80% of miners are currently backing Bitcoin 2x. But if this value falls too much, there could be some real trouble ahead. If a significant portion of mining power decides not to back the upgrade, then two forms of Bitcoin will be created as the blockchain splits in two. In this case, both groups will be able to claim that their Bitcoin is the real one. Different exchanges and wallets may be supporting different chains, so you may not even know for a time which Bitcoin you're looking at. And because both chains are saying that they're the real Bitcoin, there's not going to be strong replay protection for Bitcoin 2x. This means that transactions made on this chain could affect the other one. To stay safe, it's probably best to wait this one out, not make any transactions after the chain has split, and just wait until the dust has settled and you can be sure that all of your transactions are going to be safe. If all three coins survive the turbulence that is to come, then after the chain splits, you'll have equal quantities of each of the coins that's been created. Claiming the coins should be relatively simple. It's just a case of entering your private key into a wallet for each of the new coins. Of course, make sure that the wallet that you're using is reputable and safe. There's always a risk that somebody could be trying to do a phishing scam and steal your private key to run away with all of your Bitcoin. Some wallets will be expanding their support to include these newly formed coins, but it's unclear right now who is going to be supporting what. So the best bet is to look up which wallet you're using and see what their plans are regarding these forks. So, in summary, we're basically in for a very choppy ride. To be safe, it's best to be holding your Bitcoin in a wallet where you hold the private key. The best bet is always to use a hardware wallet like a Ledger Nano S or a Trezor, and there's a link to the Ledger in the description of this video. It's best not to buy or sell any Bitcoin shortly after the SegWit 2x fork, or you risk losing Bitcoin on one or both chains because of the lack of replay protection. And finally, wait for the dust to settle and a reputable wallet to be released before accessing any of your new coins. So far I've looked at what forks are and looked at each of these specific coins and how to stay safe. But there's one thing that I haven't looked at, and that's how you can actually benefit from these forks. Before the Bitcoin Cash fork in August, we saw the value of Bitcoin fall dramatically before it occurred, as there was uncertainty in the market. But then as people realised that they got free coins, the money flooded back in and pushed the value of Bitcoin far higher. We're now seeing another increase in Bitcoin's value ahead of the Bitcoin Gold fork, as people are again trying to get access to this free money. But the question is now, will the Bitcoin 2x fork lead to the value falling because of the uncertainty, or driving the price up with the prospect of new free coins being created? Either scenario is possible, and it really depends on whether people's greed for the newly created coins outweighs the fear of the chaos and disruption that the chain split will bring. So, is it a good idea to be buying Bitcoin right now? Personally, I'm not convinced. Whilst there's potential for Bitcoin's value to continue going up ahead of these forks, it's also very likely that it's going to drop immediately after them. And that money has to be going somewhere. I think the majority of that money will be flowing back into the altcoins, which have been dipping relative to Bitcoin of late. Particularly when this will probably be the coins that are seen as strong and safe alternatives to Bitcoin. the large cap coins like Ethereum and Litecoin. And I think particularly the new large cap coins, things like Neo and Amise Go, which is at a really nice pullback right now and had a lot of exuberance before Bitcoin's recent run-up, could do very well after the fork. Of course, all of this is just my opinion and it's certainly not investment advice in any way. But I would love to know what your opinions on all of this are. What are you thinking about Bitcoin Gold and Bitcoin 2x? What is your approach to the upcoming forks and trying to profit from it? I'd love to know all of your thoughts in the comments below. But I do hope this has been useful to you in understanding what the forks are all about and what you should be doing in the run-up to them. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day, and I will see you in the next video.